Hi, it's Mr. Benson here. I just want to go over a little bit of the stuff about simple interest that I talked about the other day in class. So just a couple of examples here. Firstly, one on simple interest. So the question is, how much do I earn if I invest $5,000 at 4.5% per annum for 5 years? So what have we got here? This value here, remember, this is what we call our principal. So it's the amount of money that we start with, either that we are investing or that we're borrowing. Now this is our interest rate. Remember, this is a percentage, so we're going to have to think about that when we're doing our calculations. And this is the number of years. Here. So the way we work this out, if you remember from the other day, is the interest equals the principal times the interest rate. Now this is expressed as a percentage, so I'm going to put this over 100 times the number of years, or the number of time intervals. Now you might also recall that I mentioned that PA is per annum, so this is per year, so 4.5% per year, so we're doing it in a yearly cycle. So sorry, my bad, down here I should have said number of years, or number of, well, we'll say years for the purposes of this. Okay, so when we're calculating it, our principal is 5,000 times 4.5%, so it's 4.5 over 100 times 5, and the answer we're going to get is, and I'm working this out on my calculator. Look, you'll do some examples that will be relatively straightforward and you'll probably be happy to do them in your head. Others on the calculator is going to make the most sense there. And what I get there is $1,125 in that example. Now I'm just going to pop over to my spreadsheet that I made the other day, and let's just change our values here. So we had $5,000 as our principal. I really need to change my spreadsheet so that updates automatically. Our interest rate is 4.5%. So what we can see is that each year we would be earning $225, and so after 5 years we've earned that 1,125, so the total we'd have in the bank would be 6,125. Okay, so going back to here, so what if the previous example was compound interest? Now compound interest is an above the standard idea, so feel free to stop here if you are just happy with doing the kind of the year 9 standard stuff. Excuse me, mumbling a bit here. Okay, so what if the previous example was compound interest? Now what that means is that after 1 year we're going to have earned some interest, and then what we will earn the next year is the interest on the principal plus the first year's interest. And look, the easiest way to look at that is to go back to my spreadsheet and have a look there. So if we jump over to the compound interest tab, now I've just got to update this stuff here. So we're starting off with $5,000, which is going to be, so that's the principal. We've got a 4.5% interest rate. Okay, so what you can see here is that after the first year we've earned $225, and then what the amount we have is $5,225. We're then earning interest on that total amount. So the next year we actually earn $235 interest. Then you can see that it increases. So after 5 years, going through the spreadsheet, we've got $6,230. So we are a little bit better off. But certainly over a longer period of time, that's going to make a much greater difference. So at 20 years, we'd be up to $12,000, whereas with simple interest, we'd only be at 9.5. So it is a good thing to do. Now we'll pop back to the PowerPoint, and I'll show you how we can actually calculate this. Whoopsie. Right, let's get back to there. So Now we start off with, I'll just write them up here. So principal is 5,000. Interest rate is 4.5%, so 4.5% per annum, and time is 5 years. Okay, so year one. The interest is 4.5 over 100 times the principal of 5,000, which is exactly the same as in our first example. It is $225. Now, year two, so then our total amount, amount equals the principal, 5,000, plus 225 equals 5225. Alright, go on to our second year, so year two. Now the interest is 4.5% times 5225. So on your calculator, now if you can do this stuff on Excel or something like that, then you can do a lot of calculations really quickly, which is good. But you can work it all out on your calculator, there's no bother there. Okay, so now we've earned another 235.13, so I'm going to add that to my original amount, so plus 5225, and I've got an amount now of 5,460.13. Okay, so in year three, my interest is 4.5% times 5460.13 equals 245.71, and then I'm going to add that to my amount, and now I've got my 5705.84. Now I'm bored, so I'm not going to go on any further. But this is all you need to do to calculate compound interest in a simple way.